Anyway, we'll move now to Jesse Redniss's presentation via video link, which will hopefully appear above me. As mentioned earlier, Jesse Redniss is Vice President of Digital Strategy at NBC Universal's USA network. There, he is responsible for monetizing digital content and also developing its social TV initiatives. As part of that, hello, Jesse, he has appeared. As part of that, he helped to pioneer Character Chatter, which is an instant messaging service, and also a second screening app for USA networks, but I'm sure he will tell us more about those now. Over to you, Jesse.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you very much, Catherine.
And congratulations.
A couple disclaimers. Oh, thank you very much. A couple disclaimers before I start here. It is very early in the morning. So if I start rambling on, speaking in gibberish, in tongues, or actually fall asleep at the desk, it's because it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 4. But we are here from lovely Stamford, Connecticut, and there's a great team of people here that woke up nice and early so that we can make this happen. So thank you very much for the invitation. First, I really want to kind of talk about the USA digital philosophy. And when we go to market and we're bringing our great shows and our content to our viewers and users, we're really focusing on a few core concepts here. We're really kind of embracing and celebrating our viewers, providing them with a voice. If we move on to the next screen, you can see the kind of layout. On the next slide. There we go. We're looking to really create communities, drive that participatory culture, really provide them with the tools to share, to talk, to play, to engage. We are staying true to our brand, and really what our brand is about is telling the best stories. We are a television network, but at the end of the day, we are storytellers. So in the digital world, in the social world, we're not only providing the technology for people to connect with those stories, we're providing platforms, we're providing new ways to tell the story, to bring users into the storytelling platform and the mechanisms so that it's not just a one-way communication, it really becomes a two-way participatory activity that users can become part of what our brand really represents. At the heart of everything, and what gamification and what engagement is really about, and why we're here creating content for people, is really about knowing the user. People are at the center of everything that we do. The art of engagement is really a term that we try to follow, and that really revolves around actions, reactions, and transactions, really driving the human element of a holistic and comprehensive connected experience. And I think that's what we're trying to look at. And we're not really approaching what we do with the USA property, and I think you see this across most of the NBCU properties as a whole, with a scientific approach. We're doing this with a human approach. We're looking to connect with people and bring to life in a virtual world, in a social world, those human elements that people are looking to really drive from each other: emotion, laughter, sadness, connectivity. And we're finding that gamification is one of the ways that we can create that human element and create that connection with our users, and it revolves all around that great content, those great stories that we're telling on air. So before we kind of get into a couple of examples that we have, I was racking my brains on what I really wanted to present here, and I could go on and on and on for days and days looking at all the various things that have been created in the marketplace around entertainment and gamification, and that could take a long time. But what I wanted to do was really focus in on just a few examples, some things that we've created so that I could speak to them with the most passion and with the most knowledge, so that I can kind of share that with everyone here in the room. And I hope that I can answer any questions at the end. So we're going to go pretty quickly through a couple of examples. This presentation will be available across SlideShare, as well as we can post it up to the site here for IP&TV. So let's move forward in the slides and just jump right in. So we're looking right here at the psych viewer. So for us, this is really knowing our user, looking at the demographic breakdown of who the psych viewer is. And the example that we're going to use today is Club Psych and the gamification of the psych property, and then moving into some of the newer things that we've launched around that property as well. But really what we're talking about is one of USA's youngest demographics. 1.4 million people in the 18 to 49 demographic, 53% female. On Wednesday nights, it's the #1 show on television. Last night, it was actually a #1 trending topic worldwide on Twitter. We had some great guest stars and a lot of activity that we saw actually beating out American Idol, which is a huge feat for a small cable network. Not small cable, the #1 cable network, to actually beat out American Idol. Online, we're doing about 20 million full episode streams last year, about 22.5 minutes per visit being spent from our viewers and users. That's really being driven by video consumption as well as content consumption, revolving around the games, gamification, trivias, polls, what have you. 2.5 million Facebook fans and Twitter followers in the social space, and that's really the kind of the meat of where the real engagement is happening with the psychos, as we call them. Those are our really rabid fan base of psych fans. And we do about 23.2 million page views in 2011, and then there's a new kind of case study that can show on how we really supercharged that and almost did a tenfold of that interaction online. On the core site, we do about 1.5 million fans come to the core site. So when you look at the Facebook followers and the Twitter followers with 2.5 million, our core site doing about 1.5 million, we can see that participation is not just happening on usanetwork.com and the psych site, it's also happening in the social space, and people are staying in the social space, so we need to basically migrate where our content experiences are happening. So if we move ahead on the slide here, we're going to talk about USA character rewards, and this is really the kind of the backbone to the gamification implementation that we've done at USA. When we first started doing gamification and built the character rewards program, we were really looking to figure out how we can get users to engage more with all the great content we were creating around our shows. When you come to the property at USA, we spend a great deal of time working directly with the show writers and producers, creating ancillary content to complement their shows. So after fans are finished watching their 42 minutes of their favorite show and another 18 minutes of commercials, we're driving them into a world where they can immerse themselves in games, in trivia, in polls, episodic content, providing real-time chat platforms such as Character Chatter to build that community, that real-time community, and drive that human interaction. And we had, for Psych, we had seasons and seasons of that type of content, and a lot of new users and viewers were coming onto the property not really aware that we had a deep catalog of content. Now, at the root of it, we are a business, so as we are trying to drive that engagement as much as we possibly can, we're also looking to figure out how we can actually monetize our properties so that we can keep the lights on. So, really for us, the goals of this program were really twofold, and that is that human interaction, that engagement, as well as a business model. What we have laid out here on this slide really is a step-by-step, very easy kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 step that we set up and followed, and that's one of the core elements to setting up the Character Rewards gamification platform. And what this is really derived to do is to create brand ambassadors, is to get them engaging with the content, talking about the content with their friends and family and other fans, and spreading that content out into their social sphere. We've saw a great amount of success with Club Psych, and then we've then migrated that over to other properties across USA with Burn Circle, White Collar Society, Covert Operatives, Row Rewards, etc. So that easy 4-step process is really about a simple UX. People love to be challenged. They love to solve a problem. When you have a lot of procedural shows, as we do on USA, people are drawn to that type of content. So the gamification methods of challenging somebody with something to do to basically get an end result resonate with the type of programming that we have. So really it's challenge. Let's say the challenge is to watch a video. Step 1 is you're basically going, you're watching that video. By completing that watch, you're accruing points. Here you can see Max Driver accrued 55 points. Step 3 is basically sharing your accomplishment out into your social sphere. Hey, I just watched this video, I got 55 points that I'm going to use towards redeeming for a great prize, accessing great content. People want to feel some self-accomplishment once they've actually completed a challenge or a skill that they've been faced with. So we've kept it really simple. If we move ahead, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the club site layout. We can move up to the next slide here. The overview, if you look at the home page here, we took a lot of cues from what we were seeing in the social gaming space. And that really is keeping your design as clean and as simple as possible. Invite users in with easy steps to really figure out, why am I here? What do I do? And how do I get to the next step? So as you come to the landing page, big graphics. We're trying not to do as many words as we can, which is kind of ironic because on the left-hand side of the screen here you see a lot of words. But we kept the design really simple, integrated in some advertising sponsorships so we can drive that revenue, and then really showcased the game challenges and the community with the leaderboard that was happening in real time on the home page. So we move to the next slide. Really how it works. Using open authentication, you can log into our system through Facebook, through Twitter, through the club site logins, and this is really for ease of access. Members earn points by completing a variety of weekly tasks, and that really is one of the key elements that we have here is keeping variety, keeping content fresh, setting up those challenges so you don't just walk away from your content for a week and come back the next week when your show is on Wednesday and expect people to still be there. You need to constantly engage. So what we did is we dipped into that deep catalog to constantly drive every single day challenges happening with watching videos and playing games, answering trivia, using digital applications like liking and sharing to drive that participatory action and also to engage and drive more points. On the next slide. How it really works is what we did is then move forward in the slide. One more. One more. Next, there we go. And we took pieces of content across the site property, and Club Site wasn't really just a landing page and destination. We spread out Club Site participation across everything at site. So here you can see, find the famous pineapple, which is a kind of a hide and seek hidden object game. And by completing the game, you're going to be earning reward points, but on the top of the screen here where it says Club Site Return Home, that's easy access to get back into your next challenge. And that's really kind of the main point of what we're trying to showcase with this slide here, that UX is the most important factor for a successful campaign. On the next slide, again, the leaderboards and the kind of prizes. You're trying to figure out exactly what it is that people were engaging with and why they wanted to be there. It was the sense of community. It was a sense of being able to experience all this great site content. But it was also stuff. And people love stuff. People love show-based stuff. So what we were doing is we were actually driving interactions so that we can give them access to that stuff. On the next slide, we are showcasing a few of the activities that people can use with their redeemable points. They can build their own interactive site room, and this is a room that it comes directly from the show. Henry, who's one of the main characters, this is his living room, and you can drag and drop items that pertain to the show, as well as you can integrate in organically advertisers into the opportunity. So here we basically have some Minute Maid orange juice, which was organically integrated into the linear broadcast, and we did an organic integration in the digital sense as well. And then some great things that we were providing as redeemable prizes were signed posters, t-shirts, DVD sets, etc. The next slide, and this is what's really important and drives back to knowing your user, again, is the data and analytics that go behind the activities and the actions that's happening on these platforms. We use a platform called Lunchball and their Nitro platform for a lot of our affinity aspects and doing gamification. And every single member on the team at USA really uses these as a EKG chart of really the engagement that's happening with all of our users. We are fanatical about following the interaction of every single user and the different pieces of content they're engaging with and how they're sharing. So the success of a lot of our programs is really measured in a dashboard such as you're seeing right here. And we can really look at new registrations. We can look at the amount of shares and pieces of content that they're doing. We can see how long they're spending with pieces of content. We can see what they're redeeming their points for. So we can really start building user profiles, understanding who they are, who they're interacting with, and what they crave. And that goes back to that human element again, which is so important to building our content. The results for our first campaign, and notice the date here, July 2010. We've been at the game, really for a little while here, and getting a lot of learnings. And you'll see as we go through the rest of the presentation an evolution of the offerings. But some great early results, 32,000 new registrants through the season, 10,000 in the first 2 days. That's a lot of activity happening with a rabid fan base. 130% lift in page views delivered during the season, with a 40% lift in return visits. Fans were coming back often, almost every single day for some of them, because of the great activities that were being generated. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I do want to be able to show that evolution. And on the next slide, if we can just go a little quick here, this is showing the activity that was happening when we decided to start providing real world goods as redeemable items. We basically saw a little over 3 million points were redeemed over the course of 2 days once we opened up our kind of merchandise. On the next slide, what we took were some learnings that happened with the emerging social TV space, the emerging second screen space, and in the October season of Psych, we actually brought the gamification process to the second screen. So literally built an iOS and Android app and took, for the first time ever, using Bunchball's APIs, took that gamification interaction and brought it directly onto Psych Vision applications. So you would download the app, and as you're watching the show, there would be keywords and activities you would need to do while you're watching to earn points and unlock exclusive content. If you go to the next slide, you'll see some of that unlocking of content happening. We used GetGlue as a check-in mechanism to add access to some of the content as well. But it was the first time we really forayed into the social TV space and gamification space together on the second screen. And the great thing about it was everything was linked. So it didn't matter whether you actually participated online or participated in the app. If you go to the next screen, you can see unlocking of some content. Everything was linked through Club Psych and through the Affinity platform. So everything was stored, your user profile was stored, and points were stored. If you go to the next slide, we can see some results from that as well. We basically doubled overall participation, 65,000 registrations through this time, 6,000 pieces of Psych merchandise were given away, and 25,000 app installs during that program. Now, on to the next slide is really kind of where we get really excited about what we're doing in the gamification space, because this was all using content that we've created in the digital world and was all about back catalog. And from all the learnings that we took, we created #Killer, which is really a transmedia storytelling experience in which we infused gamification into the process. So moving on to the next slide, when you come into the game, the #Killer experience, you're presented with a TV-like linear experience where you basically are launching into a video experience. It looks just like the show. We used all the actors, the cast, crew, everything to basically shoot an episode of Psych up in Vancouver. But then what we did is we actually chopped it up into 7 weekly mysteries that happened and unfolded in real time. And one of the great aspects of this is that it went from video into scripted content that was chopped up into 140 character bits, so people can actually share the script as they're participating. It had audio, it had videos, it had gaming elements, but the greatest thing, that element that it had was really you. You were brought into the overall architecture of #Killer, and you became part of the story using OpenAuth with Facebook. The script was catered towards your personal experience with Sean and Gus, the main characters from the show. So as we move forward here, we can see just a couple screenshots of what #Killer really looked like. And again, this will be shared, so we can go a little bit deeper, as I know that I'm running out a little bit of time here. But login page, original videos. On the next screen, here's a snapshot of the real-time communication happening here. You can see Burton Guster, part of the script, and there's me, and he's actually asking me a question. And as I answer, the script changes based on what my answer is. So it's really a dynamic, personalized experience that literally draws you in a way that has never been done before for our USA properties. A fantastic execution, and Sean Spencer replying afterwards here, he's replying directly to me, and his script actually changes based on what my answers were. On the next slide, we can see the sharing functionalities, being able to share some of those lines directly onto Facebook, onto Twitter. On the next slide, we can see a snapshot of some of the audio messages that were coming across. That audio message would show up on the phone here, shown in the game screen, as well as on your actual phone if you inserted your mobile number. The next screen, the interactivity and affinity. Being able to sign up and log in, we provided the ability to earn points that way. Interactive crime scenes, so driving in a gaming element into the storytelling. Mini games at the end of these interactive crime scenes, so you would unlock mini games to earn extra bonus points. And the greatest thing about this is that every single week there was a victim, so #Killer would actually kill somebody in the virtual world. And instead of scripting these people, what we decided to do is actually draw in the people participating in #Killer.com. So we would go through the leaderboards and pull people in, and they'd become immortalized in the overall activity. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit, so if you can go through a couple of slides very quickly, you just see a little bit of what #Killer looks like. Interactive crime scene. The next slide is pop-up on you collecting items. Here's evidence that you're collecting through the 7-week participation. On the next slide, you can see the leaderboards. You can see there's a couple red hashtags on a couple of the people on the top of the leaderboards. Those are people that actually got killed off in #Killer. But for us, on the next slide, you're going to see are the results. And this is really where you see the powerful aspects of what social gamification and engagement can really do. #Killer earned about 130 million page views over the course of about 10 weeks. 400,000 unique users came into the experience, and they came back 1.1 million times. 400,000 users, and I don't know if you remember the number that I spoke about earlier, there's about 1.4 million 18 to 34 demographic watching this show. 400,000 users represents about, I don't know, about a third, about a fourth of that. So that's a really powerful metric to look at to say, hey, we are engaging with not just on the linear broadcast, but in the digital and social world, in a human element, in an interactive element, with a huge number of fans. Average time spent in the experience was 15 minutes, 300,000 Facebook shares to over 40 million friends, 280,000 Twitter shares to over 13.5 million friends. 60% of our users came back 5+ times, and 15% of them came back every single day during the experience because it was happening in that real-time manner. #Killer has started trending immediately as soon as we launched it within the first hour, just because that rabid fan base drove the participation up. And it really became a huge hit for us and changed the way that we were looking to develop content around our shows and stick to that storytelling element and stick to that human interaction aspect, using gamification as one of the ways that we can drive engagement. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions that I can do.
Thank you very much, Jesse. As mentioned, we're running short on time, so I'm going to take 2 questions. Over to the floor. Gentleman at the front. I'm trying to see Jesse. Here we are.
Good morning. My name is Bernd Schuler from Cisco. I have a question to you, Jesse. Very impressive results you're presenting. Help me, where is the money in all that? I see that you create these ambassadors, but I don't really understand where the money is coming from.
Sure. So there's a couple different ways that we're driving revenue in #Killer and in Club Site. We're doing organic integration with our advertisers. So you saw a couple ad units integrated to the overall experience. So by driving more page views, we're able to increase overall ad impressions that are being served on the property. So in the typical season, we'll do about 20 million page views, and page views basically equal ad space that we can put ads onto. But supercharging those page views and driving more interaction with content, we're able to insert more advertising onto the pages. We also showed a couple organic integrations where Minute Maid object, the carton of orange juice, was actually brought in as one of the objects that you purchase with your redeemable virtual goods and put it into your virtual room. There's a plethora of objects that we could put in, including branding directly onto t-shirts and posters, what have you. As well as drawing in the story arcs, ways to integrate advertisers into the story. So with #Killer, we didn't actually have a fully integrated advertiser into the storyline the way that we have done before in the past with advertisers like Ford into White Collar's 36 Hours. But for us, it's really leading to the next evolution that we're going to be doing in the gaming space, which is going to be doing microtransactions as well. So taking another cue from social gaming and basically providing more access, more content, more levels into some of our gaming elements through microtransactions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Gentleman at the front here. Thank you.
Hi, Jesse. Really impressive presentation. Thank you. Just wondered if you had any thoughts on why there's a female skew in the online engagement versus the linear engagement?
Sure. You know, I think that what we're finding is that the female demographic, and this holds true, we're in season 6.5 now of Psych, and it started very early on, is that it gets a great female demographic coming to watch the show, and they're very active in the social space. So the two lead characters of Psych, two good-looking guys, Dule Hill and James Roday, they've got a pretty nice following of the female demographic, and they tend to be the most active in the social space around Psych. Psych is big not only on Facebook and on Twitter, but on Pinterest as well, and Pinterest has a very big skew in the female demographic. So I think that what you're seeing is the kind of the penetration of our content into the social sphere is being picked up early on by that female demographic, and the female demographic tends to be a little bit more vocal, a little bit more sharing with pieces of our content, just based on the nature of what the content is and the interaction than some of the male demographic. But as you saw in the numbers, they're not highly skewed. It's not 80-20. It's pretty close, even split. So what we try to do is cater each experience so that we can build up both demographics as much as possible.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Those are some really impressive numbers. Thank you for your time early in the morning. I'm sure you'll be getting used to it with your new arrival. Right.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.